Hello, welcome back to part 2 of Monday's Fan Zone. I'm Jonathan Joseph, he's Don Hutchison, and we have a very special guest for you. How else can I welcome him onto the show other than say the Liverpool legend in my eyes, being a Liverpool fan, it's Jason Mcateer. Jason, good afternoon to you.
How are you, boys? Can you recognise what I've got behind me?
Look at that! It's my number 10 Scotland top. Beautiful. Yes, I love it. Your island one's in the garage. I must dig it out sometime and try and get it on the wall.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Thanks for that.
Do you know what I mean, Jace? All of that love.
I'm joking. He knows I love him.
All of that love not reciprocated. OK, Jay, the first burning question of the weekend. We've seen some really strange results so far this campaign. What I want to ask you is, which team's most likely to break in to the top 4 and who will drop out?
You're right when you're saying it's all over the place. I think, again, we've witnessed, really mad results this weekend. Villa, Everton, both teams in form going down. Obviously, the bore draw at Manchester United and then Arsenal getting beat by Leicester. So you're right. I was just looking at the stats there and, away wins are up 25%. Home wins are down from last season, from the first 58 games. So everything's just up in the air, isn't it? Goals flying in left, right and centre. And I just think it's so unpredictable this season to actually put your finger on who's actually going to break into the top 6. If you're asking me for one team that will break in for this season, I'm going to go with Everton. If they can keep... I know. Some key players fit. I think they could be the ones to break in. I think Leicester, too one-dimensional as we've seen. Without Vardy, they stuttered against Arsenal at the weekend, didn't they? Vardy come on and lit it up and opened the game up, and they ended up winning the game. Southampton, Hasselhutl's doing a good job, but I just don't know whether towards the end of the season, when the squad's being stretched, whether they can keep up this little bit of consistency they're in now. And I just think Ancelotti has got Everton in a good place. I think there's a little bit of strength and depth in the squad. I think they've got a smile on their face. They've got a way of playing. They've got some direction. And they've got an extremely good manager and a lad who's scoring goals as well. So that always helps. So I'm going to say Everton are going to break into the top 6 this year. And
who drops out?
You see, I knew you were going to ask me that question, and I looked at it, and I don't know. Who's going to drop out the top 6?
Who drops out the top 6?
It's a difficult one if you're asking me if I'm going to throw Everton in. I'm going to go Everton.
Go
Arsenal.
Go Everton to go out the top 6.
Arsenal.
Go Everton.
I'd love Everton to drop out the top 6. I'm going to go Arsenal. I just think there's... looking at them at the weekend, they huffed and puffed, didn't they? Lots of possession. And then, obviously couldn't get over the line. They probably should have had a goal from the corner. VAR again, getting it wrong in my eyes. But, yeah, I just think... I seen Hutch on his timeline last night, Twitter, arguing about Arsenal. 2 cups for Arteta is fantastic.
Jace, honestly... My Twitter feed last night was going berserk. Honestly, JJ, I don't know if you were on Twitter. Arsenal fans were tweeting in last night about Unai Emery doing a better job than Mikel Arteta. And I was like, he's been there 5 minutes and won 2 trophies, bringing young players in, tick, getting some bad eggs out the squad, tick, trying to get in the top 4, don't carry any passengers anymore, tick. He's lost 2 on the spin. Arsenal fans are moaning. It's unreal.
OK, let's speak to Helge in Norway, who's an Everton fan. Helge, Jason thinks that Everton, out of every team that's not a traditional top 6 side, that will break into this season's top 6, who will drop out if you get in?
I actually agree with him in Arsenal, to be honest with you. I think they are the top 6 team that has the longest way to go. So I think we'll swap places with Arsenal.
The top 6 side, Don, that has the longest way to go. I actually like how he's put that, but I want you to try and explain that for us.
Arsenal have got the longest way to go.
No, I didn't say repeat it.
No, I think everyone's in the same boat when we're trying to force a team in, and who do we think is going to be in there? I don't think Villa will sustain it. I don't think Leeds will sustain it. Everton look likely because of the manager they've got, the players that's been brought in, the likelihood they might go again in January. Robin Olsen, the goalkeeper, has been brought in to try and get in ahead of Jordan Pickford, which Pickford, which might happen over a period of time. Trying to actually get them in, I think, is the easy part. Trying to get one out of the top 6 is the hardest part, because we're talking about teams, and we can forget about teams like Liverpool, Man City, Chelsea and Man United, but then we're arguing against Arsenal and Tottenham. And everyone thinks Tottenham are third favourites to win the league. So it's such a, as Jason said, it's such a bizarre league this year. Anything could happen, but it's really strange to try and predict.
Helge, quickly to you, other than the defeat at the weekend and that lucky point against Liverpool, you must be really happy how the season started.
Yeah, of course. We've been waiting many years to see what's to have the full potential drawn out of the team, and I think Ancelotti has done many things right from the day he came in, and now he's also all of a sudden started attracting big name players, which is never a bad thing. So yeah, I'm over the moon.
Yeah, it's been a good start to Everton. I suppose in some ways, Don, they're like a sleeping giant, aren't they? Massive.
I mean, massive. There is Premier League clubs out there, and I think Everton are probably, people talk about Leeds and maybe West Ham in the conversation of big clubs, but the ones that the very biggest of clubs away from the guys that are winning trophies and championships every single season, you'd like to think Everton would be in that conversation. Back in the 80s, in European football, it was Liverpool and Everton who were the best clubs.
Yeah. Helge, thanks very much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Cheers, buddy.
Will do.
OK, back to you, Jay. Another nice, easy question for you. Do Manchester City need to sign Harry Kane?
Well, last time I was on, you were asking me if they were going to sign Jamie Vardy.
Well, you said no to that one.
You said no, so now we're Harry Kane. Back up.
And next week it's going to be Cavani, isn't it, or something like that. Do they need to sign Harry Kane? No. Well, obviously they're going to have to sign a striker, aren't they? Aguero's getting no younger. I think he's on his last year of his contract, isn't he? Jesus, for me, has just not reached their full potential that he came with. So they obviously need a striker. Who are they going to get? Someone that fits into the philosophy.
Harry Kane.
Someone who... Yeah, I mean, there's no reason why they couldn't sign Harry Kane, but it's, again, I mean, you're asking me a question where is Jose going to sell Harry Kane? No, he's not going to sell Harry Kane. Does Harry Kane want to go to Manchester City, or is he going to stick it out at Tottenham? He'll probably want to stick it out at Tottenham. The club's moving in the right direction again. They're playing some nice football. Gareth Bale's come on board. Whether they sign him or not remains to be seen. But, it is moving in the right direction, Tottenham. Again, you can see, them fulfilling the potential and challenging again. They were in the Champions League a couple of seasons ago. So, I don't see Harry Kane wanting to leave to go to Manchester City. So it's kind of a relevant question, really.
I think he's had a bad day at the range, Jace. He's very spiky, isn't he? I mean, it's just a simple question, yes or no?
Leave him.
No.
Yeah, we all know what those bad days at the range are like.
Oh, yes.
Job, you're a Manchester City fan. We're thinking that your team need a striker. Don thinks it should be Harry Kane. He's ready-made. What do you think?
Well, first of all, I do agree with Jason. I think he's got it right there. We do need a striker, but I just don't think it would be Harry Kane. Although I feel like it would fit into our system. Looking at how he is playing recently, in the past he used to be like a bit selfish, but now I've seen how he links up with Son, offering some assists. Probably what we need right now at City, especially how we play. It's as if now we're using our ball possession or keeping the ball strategy to hide. I don't know. That's how I feel. Like if Jesus is playing, it feels as if he's just hiding. It feels like Rodri as well and Gundogan, they don't want to play forward passes. They just want to play it safe. 2 yards, 3 yards passes, backward, sideways. It's like we just need someone who would drop a bit back and collect the ball and just move it forward, which Harry Kane is that guy.
So, Joe, let me just have a little think across Europe. If you do go into the transfer market, Luis Suarez wouldn't be on your radar anymore. Karim Benzema wouldn't be on your radar anymore. Lewandowski's not going to leave Bayern Munich at the moment. Alvaro Morata's just gone in at Juve, so he's not leaving there. Mbappe's the one, but he looks as though he's probably going to go Real Madrid in the long run. Where do you then turn to try and get this number 9 when Sergio Aguero goes next season? Because he has been an all-time great, but you're going to have to replace him if you want a seat at the top table.
Don, that's a very hard question, because I'm sitting here thinking now, like, Aguero isn't getting any younger, and Jesus is good, but not that top striker that we need. I don't know really who we would go for. Maybe we'd just look around here in the Premier League. I've seen strikers that can probably
Kane.
Develop and not Harry Kane exactly, but there are some strikers. I really feel like Harry Kane would never leave Tottenham, and there's it will be very small chances to see Harry Kane at Man City, but Surely there are players here around in the Premier League who can come in and Pep. Besides, Pep can always convert someone who's playing as a winger to a striker, and is good at doing that. But at the moment, it seems as if the team is running low on confidence, including him, Pep Guardiola, because I felt in some games he could have just switched things up and just changed. Maybe we haven't recovered from the loss in the UCL. I'm still having nightmares of that game. Imagine someone who was playing in that game. I'm just a fan, but I'm still waking up and just asking myself, how did we lose that game?
Joe, I'm gonna go to Jason J just quickly, right? I'm just thinking there that if 2 or 3 seasons ago, and not barring Aguero's age and the injuries that have obviously slowed him down since, as an out-and-out number 9, I would have said then was the perfect time for Kane to go to Man City. At the moment, I'm seeing him like a brilliant number 10. I think he's looking even better. His game seems more rounded, just playing slightly deeper.
Yeah, we've seen that, haven't we? Playing slightly deeper, really affecting the game. I don't know why Harry's taking that on. Maybe it's a different philosophy that Jose wants him to play. Maybe Harry Kane's taking it upon himself to get more involved in the game, dropping deep, getting on the ball. I mean, we've seen his range of passing. We can also see when he drops deep on the edge of the box and he picks it up, he's got great feet. He can manufacture something himself. So yeah, and I agree with you. I'm surprised Pep hasn't looked at the situation and, he is very forward thinking, isn't he? So why hasn't he brought someone in, 2 seasons ago? Kane was on everyone's lips 2 seasons ago, wasn't he? To surprise him away from Tottenham was going to be as hard to do then as what it is now. I think if you're going to ask me for 2 names, here's a shout for you, Hutch.
Go on.
Haaland from Borussia Dortmund.
Good shout.
Or Mason Greenwood.
Oh, great shout.
And the reason I go for Mason Greenwood is I think he plays between the sticks. I think he's an unbelievable talent. And I think Pep is the ideal manager for Mason Greenwood to work under. A bit like the Raheem Sterling situation. I don't think Brendan was a great manager for Raheem Sterling. I don't think he was going to progress like we've seen him do. I think Pep was the ideal manager for this young Sterling to go in there. He's changed the way he plays. He's settled him down as a young man. He's educated him, and he's producing fantastic performances for club and country. I think Mason Greenwood.
Do you honestly see
Man U flourish?
Do you honestly see Man U selling Mason Greenwood to Man City though?
Well, Liverpool sold Raheem Sterling to Manchester City. So I see it as a kind of, I know what you're saying, that the City rivalry, but, Liverpool City and still in the economics of the game and, the rivalries and where they're at politically, I still see it was a massive signing for Liverpool to give away. So
Haaland's a great shout. Haaland's a great.
70 million at it. Yeah. I don't think they can turn their nose up at it.
Haaland's a great shout because when he left to go to Borussia Dortmund, I think his agent was saying this is a natural stepping stone for him. He didn't want to be the type of player who went to a Man United or a Man City or a Liverpool and sat on the bench. Yeah. He was going to go to Dortmund to bang in the goals, and then he'll go to one of the very biggest of clubs after that. So Haaland's a very good shout.
Joe, just before I let you go, you've got a one-word answer. Would you rather Haaland or Greenwood?
Haaland.
Nice. Thank you very much. I totally understand that. He's maybe 18 months, 2 years further in his development. However, Mason Greenwood, absolute perler of talent.
Great player. I just can't see. I can only see the backlash from United fans if they allowed one of their brightest young stars to go across the road.
Just depends. If Manchester United stick with the current front three, if they change a formation, if in a year's time he's not starting every week, Don, his representatives might say, look,
true,
this is not the place for you.
True. I've got one here from Victor to Jason, saying, Jason, with all our Liverpool midfielders fit, who starts for you?
Wow.
Well, we've seen Jurgen mix it up at the weekend, haven't we? Throwing Jota into a different formation, playing a 3 and a 1 as the front four, which is great to see. It's a bit of evolution there from Jurgen, but I think traditional 4-3-3 for me, it seems to always work. And I just think, I think Liverpool not have been found out, but they're very industrious in that midfield. I kind of managers know what they're going to play against, and they kind of combated that a little bit. And I think the signing of Thiago coming in, I think changes the way we are in midfield. You get a bit more creativity and guile in there with him. So I think Thiago plays more often than not. So I pick Thiago and I go Henderson on the right of him and I go Wijnaldum on the left.
Nice. Does that presume that you're having Fabinho in the back four still, Jay?
It does, mate, yeah. And we spoke about it at length at the weekend, the game. Fabinho sitting in there with Gomez, I think obviously you give up a lack of height, don't you? But also I think we've seen, for as much as we credited Fabinho against Ajax as being man of the match and how well he played, he did show his side to him that he's not a natural centre-half at the weekend. He got too tight a couple of times. He dived in a couple of times trying to rectify mistakes. You can kind of get away with that in the middle of the park to an extent.
Yeah.
When you're one of the back two, you can get punished like we've seen at the weekend. So I don't think he's a natural centre-half, but I think there's a time and a place for him to play there. I think Matip coming back in with Gomez would be an ideal partnership with Virgil missing, just to get a bit of consistency between the two. The height in there with Joel. And I just think that's the way Virgil needs to go. So, unfortunately, I think Fabinho is going to miss out more often than not if I was the manager.
OK. You heard it there first. Jason, thank you very much for joining us this afternoon.
Thanks,
it's always a
Cheers, Jason.
pleasure to have you
Always
on
a pleasure.
the show.
Take care. Speak to you later, Don.
Nice one, dude.
Yeah, mate.